Hello! Welcome to Art Therapy, episode 2.
Woo!
I'm Cassie,
And I'm Viv.
and we're going to talk to you about insomnia, nightmares, weird dreams, and how they inspire us as artists.
Fun topics.
Yay!
Alright, I know you touched base on the insomnia thing because you have a little more experience with that.
Okay, so yeah, I've had chronic insomnia since, I don't honestly remember since when. So insomnia, in case you don't know, is like when you have a hard time falling asleep, staying asleep, and then like, for me personally, if somebody wakes me up or something wakes me up, I can't go back to sleep. It's the worst, and it sucks.
Yeah, my mom deals with that.
So, yeah, the things that I like to try and do to, like, combat it, if I can, is I'll try and listen to music. I'll try listening to, like, white noise or whale noises or just, like, whatever. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. If I'm really desperate, I'll take, melatonin.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a natural supplement because sometimes if you can't sleep, your body doesn't produce enough. But so far, it doesn't always work for me. So it's kind of a hit or miss.
My mom constantly has to deal with that, and she'll be like up super late at night. The only drawback I've ever experienced with insomnia is just like the fact that I watch shows with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And so because she can't fall asleep, she tries to watch TV in order to fall asleep. So like the next day she's gone through all seasons of Doctor Who while I was asleep. And she'll be like, you need to catch up. I'm like, I'm gonna need 3 days to catch up. I'm gonna have to watch it non-stop. And she's like, well, it's your fault. I'm like, it's not my fault you have insomnia. And my mom's dealt with it for like, she doesn't even know how long. Like, you don't have a specific time stamp or anything, but she's dealt with it for so long that it's kind of a norm. But it seems to be a huge pain in the ass because, like you, if our dogs wake her up,
Mm-hmm.
she can't go back to sleep.
Yeah.
She has like the toughest time. Or like some days when she can fall asleep, suddenly that's when the garbage truck dudes show up and it's hella loud.
Yeah, I found myself like falling asleep on Fridays, which, as you know, Fridays are the time that our people come and they clip the lawns and do the work on the trees and stuff.
I get it, maintenance for all the grass and shit around here, and our neighborhood looks really nice, and that's great. But come on, choose a different time, not at the crack of dawn on a Friday.
It's literally, 7 or 8 o'clock on a Friday morning.
It's like 7 in, the fucking just blaring noise right outside our windows. And we live upstairs.
I don't know.
Like, it would be way worse if we lived downstairs, I'd imagine, because they're right by your window. But even still, it's still hella loud up here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you trying to sleep through that, also, there's always something that ends up waking you up.
Yeah. It sucks. Like, I notice myself get angry more often, which is, pretty typical if you don't sleep. Yeah. It's also very depressing. It makes everything's really hard. I've already got to deal with anxiety, depression, PTSD, and then I have to deal with the fact that I don't sleep on top of it, and I have to go to work. I work full time, so 40 hours a week, and it's just like...
I mean, and I know with the depression thing, I always want to sleep. Like, I just want to sleep to get away from everything. So the fact that you have something that keeps you awake all the time and makes it really impossible for you to sleep, but you're also dealing with your body saying, we need to go to sleep because we're really sad and we're tired and we just don't want to deal with this anymore, and you're like, but I can't.
Yeah, it's really annoying. It's one of those like conflicting things because you want to go to sleep, but I also have this tendency to overwork myself, and you know this.
Oh yeah.
So there are times
you're never
when,
gonna meet a busier bee.
There are times when I know I need to rest, and my body's telling me I need to rest, and I know I can't go to sleep anyway, but like I want to work on something, but I can't work on something.
Yeah.
Because I'm just too fucking tired.
You're too exhausted. And, like, there'll be nights, because I either go to sleep too much or I don't sleep much at all, depending on how my depression's making me feel each day. And I'll be up at like 3 a.m. drawing or like goofing around on Overwatch, and you'll come out here and you'll look like you've been trying to go to sleep, but you're like, fuck it, I need to draw.
Yeah.
And I'd imagine the fact that you get very little sleep, probably all that sleep hours shoved into one night where you can finally go to sleep, you probably have a lot of weird dreams, because my mom ends up having a lot of weird nightmares and stuff. Like, they don't make sense. Like, she's talked to me about them before. Mm-hmm. And I think it's probably because we don't get healthy sleeping habits.
Yeah.
You because literally can't, and me because it's not that I can't go to sleep, it's that I'm dealing with so much throughout the day emotionally, mm-hmm. that it ends up fucking me over when I go to sleep. Yeah. Apologies for my language.
No, we've been
been
cursing left and right.
It's weird when I decide to notice it, because I could be saying F this, F that the whole time, and then, beautiful, and then out of nowhere I'll just be like, oh my god, I said the F word right then and there, I'm so sorry. And it's like, if you rewind to everything I've ever said, I was saying it like every other word. Why I chose to apologize after that one, I will never know.
Yeah, we've talked about my weird dreams.
Oh my god. Yeah, yours are really weird.
They're weird.
And it's become like a routine now and again. Usually most mornings we'll try to ask each other, yo, how did you sleep? Because we share the same bedroom, being roommates. And it'll be just a weirdness of trying to remember what happened, because we just woke up from it. Mm-hmm. But then just standing there like, I don't know what the fuck any of it means. Yeah. And then we both just listen to some weird ass stories for a while.
Yeah. I've noticed that when I dream, it's usually has something to do with what I saw recently. Mm-hmm. So when I do get to sleep, I've been watching documentaries recently, and so I had a dream that I was on a documentary talking about my work, because mm-hmm. there was some kind of scandal going on with the company, and like they called me in for some reason, and they were like, so how has your boss been treating you? Like, asking me questions about, like, the company and, like, where I think things went wrong. Mm-hmm. Which is very similar to the Fire Festival documentary that I recently got caught up in. Yeah. I know it's old news, but right. My friend Anthony was like, you need to watch this documentary, and I'd never heard of it, so I was like, okay, sure.
I still do. Where do you watch BoJack a million times?
Right? And so that particular night that I finally went to sleep, that was what I dreamed about. So mm-hmm. typically my dreams have some sort of sense of reality, but then there are some days where I'm just, they make no sense at all.
Yeah. You already know my theme of dreams is constantly that I'm getting chased, or mm-hmm. somebody is getting chased. So if it's not me, like in first person, I'm living my dream, I'm watching from an outsider perspective, solely focused on the main character of my dream, and mm-hmm. something's going on with them, and there's just the classic chase scene of villain after our main hero. Mm-hmm. It's like every horror film, you know? But it's so odd, because I remember during my teen years when I would have these kind of dreams, because before that I don't remember any dreams like when I was younger. It was horrifying. Like, I wake up panicked and stressed out and stuff. Now I just wake up, I'm like, what does this mean? What is this? Why am I dealing with this all night, every night? What does this mean? Like, what am I supposed to figure out from this? Because I've had dreams where I dream about friends, mm-hmm. and it'll be somebody that I know, like one of them being a friend of mine. I had his phone, mm-hmm. and I was running through this house, and like each door connected to the other. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I've been in this house in a different dream. Like, mm-hmm. I recognize the layout. I'm like, I know this room. And each time I went into a room, there was just an eerie feeling, mm-hmm. and I had to move to the next one. And then I would hear him yelling my name, like it was urgent that he got the phone back, and I didn't know why. I'm holding secrets in my hand, apparently. And it's so weird, because then when I finally looked at the phone, when I paused in a room, it was open up to somebody else that I knew. Their contact info was in his phone, and he doesn't know this person.
Oh my god.
I'm like, why is his number in your phone? And then I had to keep running because I couldn't let him get the phone. And then I woke up and I was like, should I ask him about it?
Yeah.
But, like, how the fuck is he gonna answer? Like, I don't know, Viv. Like,
do you know so-and-so?
I don't know. And, or, like, other times it's been the cliche, you know, the girl's running and the guy with the knife is behind her, and I'm yelling, hurry up, bitch! Like, I'm doing the cliche stuff that we always do when we watch the movies where we're, like, yelling at this person, like, no, stupid, don't go that way. And it's just going on forever, and then I get bored.
Yeah.
And then I'm stuck watching this, and I'm, like, trying to change it, but apparently I don't have, you know, supernatural controls like another friend that we have who apparently, like, she recognizes she's in a dream, and then she's like, oh, okay, and then she controls everything, right? Yeah. Apparently I don't have that magic ability. I'm like, oh, I'm dreaming. Well, I have to wait until this ends.
Right. That happens to me very occasionally, and it usually happens with a dream that I had years ago, and then all of a sudden I'll just have like a continuation to that dream, and I don't know why. It's very random. So I remember I had a dream around the time I think my dad turned 40. I think it was around his birthday, and I had a dream that I was like walking through this mansion that was also an office building, because there were like empty offices. It was almost as if like the
very
company
odd setup.
Yeah. It was almost like the company had got like bought out recently, like the desks were like, they still had some things that were on the desk, like papers from the company,
but obviously looked like it was cleared out.
Yeah, it was cleared out. And so I'm walking through, there's like cobwebs every once in a while, and like
ain't nobody cleaning this place.
Nobody's cleaning this place apparently. And then it opened up into one of those like beautiful giant stairways, like that wraps around, and there was dust all over, and I hear like this mechanical and I'm like, okay. So I start walking toward, you remember Scooby-Doo 2?
Yeah.
The live action movie? So the curtains that draped the glass container that had the pterodactyl. Yeah. It was almost like that, but here's the thing. I was like 10 when I had this dream, and that movie hadn't come out yet. But it was very similar to that.
Oh, okay.
So it was weird. But the curtains draw back, and there's this crab animatronic.
Okay.
It was purple and white, and it was doing this motion.
Very robotic.
And then that's weird. And then he transformed, and the wall behind him opened up, and suddenly we were on a soundstage to a game show, I guess, that was apparently really popular in my dream universe, but I'd never seen it before. And the crab turned into, like, Transformer style, turned into this giant animatronic bear that honestly kind of looked like Funtime Freddy, but different colors, and he was more furry. And he had to be, oh my god, almost 20 feet tall.
Jeez, okay.
And my dad was there. I guess I, for his birthday, had gotten him a spot on the show. And then it was me and him, and then the opposite team, because we were in teams, the bear was the host. And the team was the guys from Whose Line Is It Anyway? For some reason. Okay. And we were like, this isn't fair. There are two of us against four of them. And so the bear was like, well, okay, you go over there. And I'm bad with, I don't remember their names.
It's okay.
But one of the guys walked over to us, and he was like, I guess I'm on this team. I'm like, okay, fine, you know whatever, bitch.
I've experienced that in real life. Where it's like, that's not fair. Like, I get you're all friends, but, like, that's 4 against 2. You need to send someone over here.
And also, I'm, like, 10. So.
And they, like, pick their weakest link, apparently, and they send them over, and they begrudge it. Like, I guess I'm with these fuckers. And it's like, you know what? We don't watch you.
Right? Damn.
You know what? Let it be 2 against 4. We'll fucking whip your ass anyway.
So we were having a good time, and then the bear got super competitive for some reason. Right. And he started rampaging, and that was the end of my dream, you know, way back then. And then very recently, like, not even last year, like this year, I walked into the same area, and I was like, this is familiar. And I found the crab animatronic, but instead of doing the thing that he was doing, it just pulled away. And the game was still going. And it was almost like it was stuck in a time loop, because I walked in, I'm, my age, but everything else has still been going on. Oh, so the bear is still playing aggressive with my dad, and okay, so Drew Carey's still there, and the one guy, the balding guy,
same from Whose Line?
Yeah.
Colin Mockery.
Okay, yeah, he's there. The other two are gone, and
they're gone, they're dead.
And the Drew Carey and Colin. Yeah, they're hiding behind, like, this, it almost looks like a tiki bar area.
Oh, okay.
That was off to the side for some reason. I don't know why. It was in the first stream, but it wasn't important. And so I go over to them and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, you!
Oh, God.
You set up this show for us to be on it for your dad, and you left us, and the other two guys are dead now because of the stupid bear, and we didn't get paid. Been stuck here. And I was like, I'm so sorry. And my dad's just having a blast, not even noticing that anything's going on.
So apparently there's an alternate dimension that you abandoned for how many years now?
Let's see, I'm 27, almost 28, so...
Yeah, so about 17, 18
yeah.
years. You abandoned them and they're pissed. Okay.
Yeah. And then I came back very briefly, and we noticed that the robot bear had this red button on his back, and we were trying to get to it, but, like, it was up on his neck, and he's 20 foot tall. And my dad wanted nothing to do with it because he was having the time of his life. So all I remember is we were trying to, like, use the ropes from, like, the soundstage to get to him, and then at some point I woke up and we didn't get to it. So I left them again. I'm sorry, Drew Carey and Colin. What's the last name?
Colin Mockery.
Colin Mockery. I abandoned you again. Maybe in the next 20 years I'll come back. Hopefully you're still alive.
They're dead.
I know.
They're gone.
But yeah, I've only really had weird dreams like that where I know I'm dreaming, because I know I've been there before.
Yeah.
But my instinct is always, well, let's see what's gonna happen.
See, I wish it was me. I'm just like, fuck, I'm stuck here now. Because, like, apparently, knocking on the fucking fourth wall to break out of it, going, hello, wake up, you're asleep, we don't want to be here anymore, it doesn't work. So I'm just like, it's like a movie you can't turn off.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing else on TV, and you switch to DirecTV, movies channel, HBO, and you're like, fuck, it's like the last 40 minutes of this movie. I guess I gotta watch it if I want to watch the next one.
Oh, yeah.
And there's nothing else to go ahead and bide your time, so you're like, I guess I'll be here.
Except there's no next movie.
Yeah, there's not. You wake up and it's just like, what did I learn from that? And, like, I never have dreams that, like, you know how some people have dreams that help them figure out issues throughout in their life or whatever, like someone's having, issues with their parents or with their friends, or, like, I want to ask this guy out, and then they have a dream, be it weird as fuck, it still helps them figure out what they want to do.
Yeah.
Or it's like a wake-up call or something. I never have those. I never have, like, none of my dreams have any important value to them. Like, I don't learn a lesson, Disney Channel at the end.
Yeah.
It's just, I was there. And it's very odd to me, because I'll go through ones like, you have dreams based off of things you've watched. So, like, a lot of the time that happens to me after I've watched a movie that really moved me, and that happens all the time I see a Marvel film, because I'm so pumped from the adrenaline from the action film. So, like, as soon, I'm talking with all my friends and talking about it that whole night, I'm super excited, I'm, like, sharing memes and shit, like, I'm jazzed, and then I finally, crash, and I go to sleep. And then, in the dream, parts of the movie that really frustrated me play. So with Infinity War, of course, it was the whole scene
Yeah.
at the end.
No. Spoiler.
Yeah. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, go watch it on Netflix. It's there.
Yeah. Come on now.
With everybody fading away, and it just sucked because it was like, I told you, it was like I had to relive it in my dream because I watched it separately with friends 3 times. So I watched it with Serge and Sadie's and Shy and Anthony, and then when you finally had a day off from work, we went and saw it with you, and then I saw it with my mom and my sisters. I had to live that pain 3 times. I was like, you know what? At least for the second time, it made sense because I told Cassie, I was like, I'm gonna see it with you. Because you can't go just see this by yourself. It's a big movie, you need to talk with people. You should experience it because we all do that thing where we like lean over and we make a joke or make a comment. We're like, oh shit, they're gonna do this. Like, we do that. And it's just an agreed thing to be okay with that because we all happen to have that instinct to do it.
Yeah.
I know other people get annoyed because like my mom is someone who's like, shh. But then she'll lean over and do it to me, and I'm like, "You're talking to me,
hypocrite,
right?" Like, what do you mean? But so and then I was like, "Oh no, that end. She can't be by herself." So I sat there. I knew everything that was coming. You know how you watch a movie sometimes and you don't pay attention or you have to go pee? I didn't leave this film and I retained everything, okay? So I knew beat by beat what was going to happen and every painful moment was relived and I still sobbed as hard the second time. And then the third time I was like, no, I can't do this again, Mom. And she's like, I want to go to the movies with my girls. And I was like, can we watch a happy movie? And then so I was in pain in that one too. I was crying again. I was like, what's the point of wearing makeup? And then so like the first time I had a dream after that movie, it was for that part and I was like frantic. For some reason I wasn't with Tony Stark like I imagined I would have been because of all the people there that I love the most. Yeah. And like wanting to be there to be like fucking spit in Thanos' face. Yeah. Like fuck you. I was with the rest of the crew. Oh no. Kinda like that hurt even more. And then like I was fucking freaking out. I was running to everybody's spot. And then I was looking at myself. I'm like, why can't you take me?
Oh no.
And I'm like near Captain America because he's one of the more influential parts that I favor the most. Mm-hmm. So like I'm freaking out next to him, and it's like it's really weird because I don't fit the mood of the movie. Right. I'm running around going, no, oh my god, no, please, Captain, what are we gonna do? And then everybody's all serious and it's like fitting the music and the score, but you got my dumb ass in the background. Like I don't fit. I clearly don't fit. The second time I had another dream, it was the Spider-Man part where he says his line and everything.
Oh, my Peters are
him saying that line like I was told repeatedly, you know, he improv that, he wasn't supposed to say blah, blah, blah. I don't care. It's still a really good scene. I don't care if it doesn't make sense to your science of everybody vanishing. I don't give a shit. I don't care about the whole, well, why did he last longer than everybody else? I don't care. We're talking about a purple man going across the world to get stones for a glove to make half the people disappear. I don't care about your logic. What I care about is the delivery. That was so good scene. It was very powerful, especially those of us that really love this new Spider-Man. And to have that impact on Tony Stark, like I fit the mood more in that second dream. Yeah. I was a lot more solemn. I fit the tone. Like I was actually part of the movie that time. So like remembering the dream, it felt like I was in it. And because obviously the first time my crackhead ass was like all over the place. And then this one I was a lot more respectful, and that was weird to me. The fact that I chose to relive a different scene completely, and I chose to be part of the movie. Yeah. And like my brain decided to wire everything to fit, like the lighting and everything matched on me fine, and I was wearing an outfit that felt like it suited the world and whatnot. And I didn't say anything. I was in the back and I was sobbing. I was crying. It was a quiet cry, you know. And the other one, I was ugly crying. I was ugly crying next to Kat. I was like, what are we gonna do when he's gone? You know, it was terrible. It was like, you know, those videos where people edit themselves into scenes and stuff, and it looks grainy because they didn't get all of it and they don't have a proper green screen or like After Effects stuff. It looked like that. You know, like, you clearly don't belong here. Whereas the other one, it was a lot more graceful, and I fit into it. And like, I have dreams like that where if I'm not being chased or somebody else isn't being chased, I'm part of movies and stuff. Like, the same thing happened when I got done watching My Hero Academia.
Aww.
I was in various scenes going, and I wasn't me. I was in the art style.
Oh, okay, that makes
so
sense.
like, it wasn't one of those things where I imagined what they look like as real life people. It was the anime, and I was picturing myself as a character. And it was a lot of like just enjoying scenes that I had. And then, of course, we had to make myself cry, and we jumped to the, you know, I'm not going to give full specifics, but everybody knows that big impactfulness with Ira and Todoroki and Deku with Stain.
Yeah.
That the whole fighting, amazing, beautiful animation. So I loved seeing that again in my dream. Aww. And like enjoying the animation because I, of course, have a love for it. But dealing with the crying and whatnot, I think, because I'm so emotional, I never get over my own feelings. And I think that's why my dreams make me have these things. It's like, you're not done crying, so cry in your dream. And then I wake up feeling like everything hurts right here in my chest because obviously everything's being pulled here.
Yeah.
I'm tightening during my sleep. You know, you can rip actual threads in your heart from heartbreak, which I found out if you stress so much emotionally. And I'm like, oh, that's what's gonna kill me. Being too much of an emotional bitch. But like, I think weird factor, it's usually when I've really wanted to work somewhere, like RoosterTeeth.
Oh yeah, we've had those dreams.
Yeah, where I've imagined actually being there, and like it got me hyped to want to push more to work there. And it was like giving us hope because we had a plan to move to Texas to be part of it's not community. What's the word I'm looking for? Their team, their production, their company. There we go.
Their company. I mean, they treat it, at least from a PR standpoint, as community. So
okay,
yeah.
But like we had that plan set out, and we were super hyped for it. So there was a period where we constantly had those dreams interacting because we were also watching a lot of their stuff, and like we like staying caught up on everything. Yeah,
we were watching a whole bunch of like Always Open and like RTX videos and like RT Life and stuff. And I remember, like, when we would wake up in the morning and tell each other our dreams, it was basically the same thing. Yeah. We'd be like, oh, yeah, we were at a convention, and we were at a booth with Michael and Lindsay, and, like, you know, something weird happened.
It's the same stuff. It's like we both happened to be just living the parts that we would have done work-wise at these places. And that's
I think we were more thinking of ourselves as talent.
Yeah, that's true. We wanted to be more
animators.
Personality people rather than their animation crew. Because I didn't have any dreams where it was like, oh, yeah, they gave me scenes to work on Camp or whatever, and I was stressed working about that, and I really...
There was, like, one dream where we were in the animation studio that we saw in their RT Life when they moved to animation studios. Don't remember how long ago that was, but... and I dreamed that we had desks near each other. Right. But I think that's it. Like, I never really dreamed about, like, doing an actual scene or, like, talking to the story crew and being like, hey, Miles, what do you want for this? Or whatever.
Because I think the majority of what we know for them is all the personality stuff. Like, being the front people for different shows and stuff and podcasts. And that's kind of why we're doing this, to get practice and stuff, because we would like to be part of those things. Yeah. No matter where we end up working, we would like to do something like this because it's a lot of fun, and we're very talkative and very...
I think we're funny.
I hope we're funny. You can let us know if we're not funny.
We won't cry.
We won't cry. We have I've heard every insult in the book, and that came from my own family growing up. So, like, anybody comes at me like, oh, you ugly, stupid bitch, it's like, tell me what I don't know.
Okay.
We move on here.
Like, damn, my mom said that but to me before I was 10. Like,
all my cousins call me that. Fool, get some better material. And, like, people be like, oh, shit, that's dark or that's sad. It's like, no, I mean, I know who I am and I'm comfortable with who I am. I know I'm not, like, anything uber duper special. My friends can tell me that I'm the bee's knees and I love them for that, and I think they're the bee's knees, and that's kind of just pretty much what matters. I don't really give a shit if someone wants to try to cyberbully me. Do your best. I've had real life bullies my whole life. I know how to fight you.
Yeah.
I'm not one of the ones that got battered my whole life. I'm here to protect those that can't protect themselves. Fool, so you better be scared of me. But there was a thread I wanted to go on. A weird dream that I did have with when we had Rooster Teeth stuff, because a lot of it was, oh, we want to work here, oh, we're super hype, we're gonna do this. But a weird dream I had was like stressing, running around as like an intern type that needed to get stuff for each of them.
Okay.
And I had to book it to each, again, running.
There you go, central theme.
My body's like, move your fat ass, bitch, we need to get in shape. I'm like, okay, get it, we need to run. Still don't do it. Kind of. We do baby steps, we walk the dog.
Yeah, there you go.
So, like, I'm booking it back and forth, and each time I need to go get something for somebody else in a different room yells that they need something, and apparently I'm the only one that can get it, right?
You're the only intern.
What the fuck? There should be more people here. And so, like, I have to go, what was it? I had to get, like, balloons filled with slime for the age crew, and I was like, that's not too weird.
Yeah.
But then, like, I was supposed to get metal pipes for Barbara for the Always Open segment that they were having, and I'm like, what is this needed for? And then, like, I'm running back and forth, and somebody asked for something. I don't remember the word because it doesn't exist.
Okay.
They asked for something that does not exist, and I had to stop, and I was like, am I being punked? Am I getting hazed right now? 'Cause I don't know what that is. Like, I don't even remember the word. It was nothing. You know how sometimes you'll have something that's close and be like, oh, they meant marshmallow, you know?
Yeah.
No, this word, nothing. It was like noise. It was like they opened their mouth and an alien came out. I don't know what they wanted. It's like, okay, yeah, I'll get that, sure. And, like, I'm running around and I'm trying to find something, and I'm bringing them random shit. I'm like, you need this? You want some grapes? Did you want a stuffed animal? Did you want some new shoes? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm running back with random shit. And each time I'm running back, I don't know, I'm going to a specific room and I'm just putting my arms in. Mm-hmm. And when I pull them out, I have the thing that they're supposed to want, right? So,
magic
like,
powers.
Yeah, I know. Very cartoonesque. But as I'm running back and I'm getting tired each time, the length between the room that I'm going to and the rooms I gotta get to is getting farther and farther. And then on the last run back, it looks like it's gonna take me days to get back to the room that's needed. And it's like,
oh no,
Bernie and Gus needed something for the RT podcast, and like I had like pillows in one arm and had something really heavy in a bag. So I'm like dragging
a body.
A body. They needed a body. And so I'm like dragging this thing back and I'm like trying to run, and it seems like it's ages away. Like I need to get in a car and go. And like I finally reach it and there's nobody in the room.
Oh no.
There's nobody in that room.
Oh no.
And then I look around and there's nobody in the convention anymore.
Oh no.
Because it took me days to get back. And I
like, well, weekend's over.
Yeah. And I woke up and I just...
Gus is like, you failed, you're
right.
fired.
I woke up and I was like, what the how was I supposed to get back? Like, I just sat here and I was like, what does this mean? What was I carrying? Because a lot of the time my dreams feel very realistic. I can sort of feel when somebody hits me, or like I feel the weight in my arms when I'm carrying something, which totally sucks. Because other people have dreams like, yeah, I could fly the whole time. And it's like, fuck you. I have hardship dreams. Like, it's mean. Give me a break. But I was so pissed. I wanted to go back to sleep to figure out. I wanted to get to work and be like, who Who sent me on that run?
Oh my god.
What was in that bag? Because I didn't look in the bag. I just knew it was really heavy, so I have no idea what was in that bag. It was probably a body. It was Blaine.
Yes,
Blaine was gone.
yeah.
He was in the bag. A big muscular boy. He was in the bag and I was dragging him the whole time.
Oh my gosh. No wonder it took you forever.
I know, it was hardcore struggling. It was at that one point where you had to turn around and I was like scuffing with my ankles to push back.
No.
And I'm like, I gave up on the pillows at one point because they weren't in my arms anymore. And I was like, why'd I give up on the pillows? Why didn't I just leave the bag? I know. I was just like, the fuck? Why did I choose the harder route? Bitch. You could have fucking just left the bag alone and ran back with the pillows. I'm sure I would have made it in time and been like, somebody needs to help me get that back because this is heavy. No, I ditched the pillow. Oh my god.
Oh,
I'm
no.
smart. I'm smart, you guys.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I've had other dreams. I don't know if you've had dreams like this before, but playing a video game for so long, I imagine being in the video game.
Okay.
And obviously I play Overwatch a lot. Looking at all my Overwatch merch around me. We recently just got Nerf guns.
For no reason.
For no reason. For no fucking reason. We don't need them. No one needs them. And they kind of hurt, so just warning. Merch review. I've had a dream where I picked one of my favorite characters. Usually it's Soldier because I love him to pieces. And it was like the view that you get when you play in third person or first person, and yeah, third person when you're watching other people. And I'm like running around on some of my favorite maps, and usually that's like Oasis because I like the pretty colors and stuff and the architecture. And so like I would run in and we're like shooting each other and stuff, and it hurts. And like people are actually yelling in pain because they're getting hurt by these things, and there's real blood. And then when you die, for a moment in my dream, you just don't see anything, and then suddenly the lights turn on and you're back in that spawn room. So that's how my brain translated us respawning. It wasn't like I had a loading screen or something. Like, no, it's just blank for like 10 seconds, and then you're back in that room. And then like people were becoming more and more hesitant to run back out there and capture the point because they didn't want to go back out there and die. But I was booking it because for some reason in my head, I'm like, I have to capture the point. Let's go. And so like everybody, it was terrifying.
Oh my god.
It was absolutely terrifying. But it was really funny when we got to like the next game to pick my hero. It's like, it was me standing in this really, it felt like a really big room, but you couldn't see past a certain point. There was only lights on these, like, you know how in futuristic movies they just have the screen and you just touch it?
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's no, like, actual computer anything.
That's an interesting concept, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's like pixels in the air, but you're supposed to... It makes me
wonder when we're going to get that technology.
Right?
Or
I feel like my hands
happen.
would go through it, but it feels like there has to be something there for you to touch a solid.
I don't think so.
Right? But, like, no, they're like, no, you can just do this, and it reads it. I don't know. It's weird, but it was there. Yeah, and, like, the lights and stuff, because it, like, was projected and whatnot. And so I felt like the room was really expansive. And so we're standing on circular platforms that are lit up, and we just pick the character we want. And so we're, like, discussing back and forth, just random people. I don't know any of these people. Usually, I would imagine having friends there that I always play with or something. Like, no, it's nothing but random people.
Interesting.
And I think it's because I have serious anxiety when I play with friends because I don't want to disappoint them when we play games. I don't want to lose because, I don't want to lose because I feel bad. I feel like, you know, I have competitive friends or I have not so competitive friends, but I still feel like, you know, it feels really good to win. And it sucks to hear disappointment in my friends. Yeah. But if I play with strangers, it doesn't bother me. Yeah. Because I have no stakes in this. I haven't built a camaraderie or anything. We're just here together to, have fun or whatever. And if someone's crazy competitive, I'm just like, fuck you, dude. It's quick play. Wow. I'm a total ass when it comes to strangers. Like, great way to make friends, Viv. And then when I'm with my actual friends, I'm like, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm trying my best. Complete personality switch. So like we're arguing back and forth, and I'm like, I don't want to play a tank. I suck at playing a tank. Quit trying to make me be diva. I want to play soldier. I want to play reaper. I want to be DPS. And everybody's arguing, and then they suddenly like they're counting down for our choices, and so we all just quickly slam on what we want. And there's no healing whatsoever besides me with my healing canister.
Oh no.
And I was just like, fuck. So like we see each other standing on the platform, and then everything goes dark, and then when we open our eyes again, it's like again the lights switch on, and we're in a room, and we're all the characters now. Mm-hmm. And it was just a weird thing to just live through, because it was constantly just me just playing the game. I didn't get to know these people. I didn't learn names. We didn't have a time where we just asked each other stuff. Mm-hmm. It was just we'd run in each thing. And I think I might have had this stream shortly after I watched Ready Player One.
Okay. That makes
sense. I think that's what heavily influenced me being inside of a video game. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's really weird. I've never had a dream like that, especially for my brain to work out the mechanics of what it might actually be like to be put in the game, rather than just imagining the video game itself, because everything was hyper realistic.
That's really cool, though. Mm-hmm. That'd be a good idea for like cartoon something or other. I don't know what, but
that would be fun.
I haven't had. Well, I had kind of a dream similar when I first read the Harry Potter books, because I grew up with the books. I was almost the same age as Harry himself. Yeah. Growing up and reading those books, which is a really cool experience for like anybody who was around that time and while the books were coming out. That was just like the coolest time to be a little kid.
It really was.
It was great. So
even being just a couple years younger at the time. I think it's probably got to feel even cooler to be the exact same age almost, and to go with these books. It's like you were going to Hogwarts yourself. Whereas me, I was like, I'm almost there. I can go in a couple years.
For me, it was a great escape, especially because around that time is when my parents really started to become more abusive. Mm-hmm. So I would read the book, or at least most of it. It was really hard to put down, but I would read the books, and then I would go to bed and pretend I was at Hogwarts, or I would have that dream, I guess, that I was at Hogwarts. And I never had a determined house when I was a kid. I really liked Ravenclaw, but at the time Pottermore didn't exist, so we weren't able to take the quiz to figure out our specific house, whatever. And
I'm a Hufflepuff.
I'm a Gryffindor, apparently. And I knew more about Gryffindor anyway, so I guess that makes sense. I think I was just kind of a Gryffindor without actually being a Gryffindor. Yeah. Like, I just had the basic uniform. Mm-hmm. And it was just me wandering around the castle that was in my dreams, because the movies were starting to come out around the same time, but I don't think for the first dream specifically, I don't think I saw the movie yet. Mm-hmm. But I might have. But I remember my own imagination being a lot more vivid than the movies, obviously. Yeah. So I would tend to go to the castle that was in my vision when I read the book.
Right.
If that makes sense.
what you perceive based on her descriptions and the story itself. So, I do that all the time, especially when I'm sitting at D&D, when somebody's explaining stuff, you'll see me following their hand and whatnot as they're describing the room, and it's because I'm picturing it around us.
Yeah. I've done that before, too.
Yeah. And I think it's the coolest thing to find other people that do that, because then I don't feel as weird.
Yeah. We were playing, what's the vampire one?
Curse of
Strahd. And I remember you were describing this scene with the chariots, and we were going around looking at the clues, and it was in my head.
Oh, yeah, cool.
And I was picturing my character specifically going around, skipping around, and looking at everything. And my character is a little gnome, who is kind of a badass bitch.
Yeah.
And she's great. I love her. But Yeah.
Cool.
So, but my dreams are usually not exactly the characters or the experiences like your dream.
Yeah.
It's usually tied to something I've seen, but not exactly what it is. So a lot of times I dream about Survivor Island situations for some reason.
I've had those dreams too.
Where I'm just like on an island, either with coworkers because I worked with them recently, or with friends.
Now, are you focused on surviving and getting everybody off the island? Is that like the premise of your dream?
Well, the one that I have more specifically is more similar to, I guess Survivor did this too, where they vote people off the island.
Okay.
And but I watch Total Drama Island more than I watch Survivor. So, but it was a lot of extra drama from the people around me, and I think a lot of my insecurities showed up in those dreams because even though I basically raised myself and I know enough about survival to, I think I could get by. I don't know, I've never been stuck on an island, but you know, I would like to hope that I know something. Even though I was doing more than like my coworker or this person that I went to school with that I didn't really care for, everybody wanted to vote me off. So
okay.
It was usually that's how those dreams go, or it's I'm in an alliance with a very limited amount of people.
Okay.
The people who I'd get along with, or you know, my very close friends, and then we're like, so how are we gonna get so and so voted off? It's not. I don't know. I don't have dreams about actual. Well, I guess I've had dreams about the actual survival portion. Of the island.
But a majority been like
is like the drama like who's gonna get kicked out. Like,
okay. See, because my survival dreams is there's being washed up on this island. So I experience not how we got there, because it's usually like a plane crash and then you go through all the water. Mine starts just washed up onto the sand from the water, and I'm like coughing and spurting out water, and like I'm so tired, my legs are so heavy, and I'm kind of just fuzzily looking around. It always just starts from there.
Okay.
And then I get up and I start gradually finding people, and then sometimes it's people I know, or for the most part it tends to be people that I potentially am attracted to.
Okay.
And so it's like a variety of people where it's like personality, and I happen to like everybody. But there are instances where I really hate like maybe like 2 to 3 people. I just really don't like them. I end up having nemesis on the island. Nice. And it becomes a thing where I immediately jump forward to take the leadership role, or to be the right hand to whoever takes the leadership role.
Oh, okay.
Because I always feel comfortable having somewhat of a say in how things are run, because from what I've seen on TV shows, what I've read, I know that a lot of the time people like to split up. People like to form alliances. Yeah. People like to go against one another. They become feral right away. Yeah. You forget being human, and it's just, I don't know, the hypnosis of being on an island that makes you become a wild animal. Yeah. And it's just like, I immediately jump in to help remind people, hey, I know it's terrifying, but we're gonna find a way off as long as we use our instincts, as long as we work together, implementing that. But there's always a couple of people that really are just vicious. They're just toxic. And so a lot of the time I verbally combat with them, whereas someone else ends up physically having to fight them. Ooh. Because they're trying to hurt people on the island now. And then the rest of the time is like me meeting people, and I'm starting to develop feelings for a couple people as it goes through. Either some people become really good friends of mine, or some people I'm seen as like we could potentially date. Okay. And then it always comes to an awkward evening of who am I going to sleep next to that night, because I've gotten close with somebody, and it's like 4 somebodies. I'm like, son of a bitch. This doesn't happen in real life, obviously.
Right,
I never run into this issue, but for some reason I have this fear in my dream when it comes to being specifically on an island. I'm trapped with these people, and I find people that I like, and it's not just one person that I like. No. We have the troublesome issue of there's 4 potential partners. Who will she choose? So that's the drama I live, right?
Nice.
And I'm just like, any chance the 4 of you agree to a polyamorous relationship and are bisexual / pansexual like myself? No? Shit. And I can't be a hoe because I got morals. I'm just kidding. I can't be a hoe because I'm not that confident. I'm already surprised that 4 people like me in my dream.
Yeah, I know I'm dreaming, but
like holy
why?
shit, like why? Why do you like me? And then I never reach the moment where I finally make a decision.
Wow.
Yeah. Because usually what happens is one of the toxic people jumps in and causes a problem. It's like I stop myself from having to make a decision. I make an excuse for myself to not have to decide.
I think that's pretty telling, though. Because you have a tendency to, like, love very passionately, but at the same time I've seen you, like, make those kind of excuses. Like, we're too far away, or, you know, we don't have enough in common, or, you know.
I've always ran into something where I felt like it was easy to go ahead and say something pretty basic just to feel comfortable in the fact that I don't need to hurt over this, and trying to do something about it is really hard because I don't have, like, the experience or anything. So, like, when it comes to the trying aspect and knowing how far to push or how far to hold, you know, how much to hold back and whatnot, I'd rather just accept defeat.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing, you guys, at all. I have my own personal issues to work out, so if you feel the same way, we should probably all go see a therapist. Should probably all go talk to somebody to get someone to work on our brain a little. But this comes from the fact that, like, growing up, super strict mom, I didn't have a regular social life, so I don't know the tricks in the trade like everybody else.
Yeah.
And I get scared right away from liking somebody. I like liking people from a distance. I'm totally fine if I can just like from afar and enjoy my crush and be like, they're super cute, I really like them a lot, oh my god, they're so special. Alright, now I can just go back to my memes and stuff.
Yeah, I feel pretty much the same way, but I think mine is a little different just because of my sexuality. But I don't know. I tend to crush on people, and then I have this, like, inner turmoil of would they even want to be with me for very specific reasons. We don't have to get into that right now.
Yeah, we don't have to.
We're, you know, talking about dreams, but so
I like that yours is more kind of friendship heavy.
Yeah.
With the survivor thing. It's like you need usually the people on your side are people you know you're really good friends with. So, like, if it was our main crew that happened to be on there, you know that we would be on your side, and then you would have other people that either you don't know or that you have met in your life that for some reason don't like you. I find it really interesting that it's so, like, down the middle for you to know who is already on your team. Because I would be surprised if you had one and it was like Viv's on the opposite side and you're like, what the fuck, man?
I think I've had a dream where we disagreed on something, but we were still on the same side.
Oh, okay.
We were like, you wanted to... What did you want to do first? It was a question of hunting versus hiding, or like making our own fort base or something. Because I think we were in an alliance, obviously, and we were like, we need to get away from the main people. And I was like, well, we should hunt and gather supplies first. And I think you said, like, you wanted to go do shelter first.
Okay.
And it came into, like,
which I don't to combat that. I'd be like, bitch, we need to go find stuff if we need to build a shelter first.
I don't know. I think it was just like,
it was something pretty simple, and for some reason we had different opinions on where to begin.
Yeah, and, like, for a minute you were like, well, I'm just gonna go my own way. And I was like, okay.
Which makes sense. We're both stubborn people, but, like, honestly, in the same... once I get my head out of my ass,
Yeah.
I usually see why we have the first reason given.
Mm-hmm. But, you know, yeah. So on Weird Dreams note,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wanted to talk about what we experienced when writing either our own stories or for specific characters.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I also kind of wanted to talk about basic nightmares that I've seen that to me don't make sense,
Mm-hmm.
or, you know, whatever, or,
Okay.
you know, what dream sequences we think would work better for specific characters.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So, one of the ones that we see a lot in cartoons and live action is the dream where somebody's up on stage and they're socially awkward or they have stage fright, and so of course naturally they're either on stage or in front of their classroom and they're naked.
Yeah.
And I've never experienced that dream before. I could be wrong, but it doesn't seem to be very common, at least not from people I've asked.
Yeah.
So I don't.
And it's weird that it's so popular.
Yeah.
In
it's
writing
an odd
and stuff.
trope.
And I think it's because people find the vulnerability of being nude in front of everybody so funny, and you laugh with the people, but you're also conflicted because why should I be laughing at this person that's vulnerable?
Yeah,
because those guys are assholes.
Yeah.
But like honestly, if I ended up in the dream and I was naked in front of like my class, it would most likely have been like if I was naked in front of one of my classes at AI. I'm like, well, I know this is a dream because there's no way in hell.
Yeah.
I would be aware right away because I know me.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I would immediately start playing it off because I'm very much Chandler. I use humor as a defense mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
So I would immediately start making jokes.
Mm-hmm.
I would start laughing at myself. I'd be like, this isn't Ross's class. I'm supposed to be up there posing nude for them for anatomy reasons.
Right.
And it's like, okay. But, and like, if that happened to one of our friends, who's incredibly confident,
Yeah.
she would just be like, you should feel blessed that you get to see this.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
you're like, you know, it wouldn't work on several of the people that we know. Everybody that know, it wouldn't work. You know, for confident purposes, or they would immediately know it's a dream, or they would get the hell out of Dodge right quick, because most of these people stand around. Like, the scene is written for them to stand there covering themselves.
Yeah. I think even with me, because I've had experiences in the locker room that were just kind of meh, like, and I know you haven't had great experiences.
No, I have not.
But when I was in middle school and high school, you get over it quick. You get over people seeing your body real quick. And then especially doing the live nude models, it's like, oh, well, I mean, these people don't care about being naked. So I think even in that sense, if I had that dream, I would be like, all right, I guess this is happening.
Yeah. Because, like, in dream, I know I'd be like, so we're going with this? This is what we're dreaming tonight? Okay. And then I would move from there, because a lot of the time my dreams don't bother me anymore. Yeah. They're nightmares and stuff, but that's because of the way it affects my body. I wake up feeling really stressed out, anxiety ridden, but I'm not freaked out the way I was when I was a kid. I've had nightmares when I was a kid where I woke up screaming and panicked. But like now that I'm older, I'm just like, really? Are you kidding me? But like in real life, obviously, in the locker room, I didn't have any good things because I just had bullies around me all the time.
Yeah.
So I dealt with people just pointing at me and like laughing or like making comments because, you know, my teachers didn't speak Spanish. So girls who did, that were bullies of mine, would go ahead and say something under their breath that I could hear and understand, but the teacher could not. So I think that's also why it's kind of important to be kind of bilingual, maybe trilingual. That way you can get at least to know the insulting words.
Yeah, at least
I think it's important.
Figure out those ones.
Like, learn the curse words and the insults at least, because then you will be aware when they're calling you a name and when they're calling other people a name, because they're not supposed to get away with that.
I think especially if you're in a very specific area, if you know that there's a big Latina community around you, you should learn at least a basic understanding of Spanish, even if it's just the curse
just to
words.
help yourself out.
Yeah. Or, you know, there are some areas around us that primarily Russians.
Yeah.
Or I've seen a lot of Indians come into my store. So I'm like, it would be kind of beneficial if I learned those languages, like, or at least some of the bad words, so I could be like...
And, like, the random moments, you and I have experienced people coming in that start signing to us and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I really want to learn, because in those moments, I feel incredibly awkward and terrible for not knowing just even my full alphabet, which is something that I was taught in elementary school, but then never used again because it's not seen as important, apparently.
Yeah. And I have some deaf customers, so I can be like, I know a little sign language, and they freak out. They're like, oh my god, that's so awesome. Like, I mean, they can't, you know, but, like, they get really excited, and you can see it in their faces.
Oh, yeah.
A big part of deaf culture is the facial expressions. So they get, like, over the top excited. It's great. I love it.
Yeah.
So I can at least sign a little bit, and I know some of the signs for, like, what I sell, but not a whole lot. I don't feel super confident. I couldn't hold a conversation, but, you know. Anyway, we're getting off topic. I'm sorry.
We do that a lot. We talk in rabbits. We just keep going in circles and circles, but usually we get back to our point. But like I was saying with real life stuff, I've dealt with those issues. And I always have the biggest fear because of it that if I'm ever intimate with a partner, I've told you my biggest fear is getting undressed and having them laugh at me. Not the whole thing where you should be comfortable enough with your partner to laugh, because the whole thing of, like, you know, weird funny noises will happen and all this stuff, and you'll feel giggly because you're nervous and stuff. No, I mean, you know, you get to that actual dream sequence of being in front of people and they just point and laugh at you. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't want to experience that in real life. Yeah. But, like, in a dream, that doesn't scare me to be in front of my class and be like, ha 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 ha. I'd be like, you know what? Fuck you. Because I know most of the time I'm aware I'm in my dream, or the people that are involved in my dream, I'm not threatened by. Yeah. There are very few people. And even then, the people that I feel, like, scared of, I guess you could say, it would be like my mom. But I would be having a dream about not pulling the chicken out of the freezer like I was supposed to. And she just got home. Oh, no. You know? That's the fucking nightmare I'd be having. Because that happened my entire life. I was just like, you should just pull it out of the freezer when she tells you, you know? And I never learned that. She would send a text in the afternoon and be like, hey, pull out the chicken from the freezer. We're having that for dinner tonight. I'm like, okay, Mom, got you. Never fucking did it. It would hit fucking 5:30. She'd get home off of work, and then it's not pulled out. So that would be my nightmare, where I had true fear. It wouldn't be undressed in front of a classroom like a lot of the writers for cartoons or TV shows have done.
I think it's interesting that they do it specifically for, like, socially awkward or just nervous characters. Yeah. So I would say, like, what would you do as a replacement for an socially awkward or nervous character, or just awkward in general, I guess?
I think because I am one. Yeah. I've grown because I've had to take care of several friends of mine who have reached nervous, awkward moments, especially since we go to conventions. Yeah. And I've had to, you know, pull a specific friend of ours along to go see who they want to see, go up to the table and whatnot and buy their stuff. And so I think because of that, I've gotten a lot better at not caring so much. But I know before, like, when I first started college, incredibly nervous and awkward. And I think a perfect example that you'd have to live through is just fucking up during a PowerPoint presentation. Ooh. It's so simplistic, but it is so nerve-wracking if you are socially awkward and you don't have public speaking skills, to have the PowerPoint slides messing up, or the clicker stops working, or something else pops up on the screen that's, like, very risque or something, or awkward or, like, dorky, or, like, sends the wrong message. And or you start stuttering a lot, because I don't have a stutter. I didn't grow up with a stutter, but whenever it comes to public speaking, I start stammering so bad that, like, sometimes I bit my tongue because I'm trying to talk so fast and get the words out. I think that is a very easy and nobody needs their clothes off.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, but even in some cases when they're kids that, you know, are in these scenes and stuff, I get it, but at the same time, like, I don't want to watch these shows, and I don't want other kids watching these shows having to see this poor, nervous kid actor, you know, with just their shoulders being seen and whatnot. I know that they're not actually naked, but the implication is also very awkward.
Yeah. Well, and you also made a good point, that, you know, it's a ha-ha moment, but it's supposed to be a cringy moment. It's supposed to be we feel bad for the main character because this is their nightmare.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a good one, a PowerPoint presentation, or just, like, a presentation in general in front of your class, even if you had, like, the classic...
Yeah.
It's not cardboard. It's, the colored paper.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's, like, used for, like, signs and stuff that you normally just draw and stuff.
Even if they had that and, like, for some reason it's all messed up, or, like, the letters are in the wrong spot, or, like, something, that would be a really good dream. And I think especially, like, for people like me, I spent most of my life not being able to speak because of my parents would talk over me, or they didn't really give me a voice. So I spent, I think, like 14 years of my life not talking. So when I finally got around to actually speaking, it was very hard for me, and it still kind of is sometimes, especially if I'm nervous.
Yeah.
You see me stutter over words, or I'll say the wrong word, like I'll say microwave instead of oven.
Yeah.
Or, you know, just random stuff. So I think especially for a character like that, if they had suddenly an issue speaking in front of people, or like, I'm not very loud.
Yeah.
So if they start, like, squeaking through the presentation, or just, like...
I think it's a lot more interesting because we've had some moments before with characters that are stressing out about something, or that are socially awkward and nervous. Whatever it is that they have coming up, like a presentation, or they need to sing in front of everybody because of a talent show, or a big soccer game, football game, or something, and then having a dream specifically about fucking that up in the worst way is a way more appropriate.
Yeah.
And then, you know, even if you just want them to have a nervous day before school, well, have them get up and, like, you know, when the teacher does the same stupid shit all the time, no matter what grade you're in, where they're like, we're gonna go around the classroom and you're gonna give your name and your major.
Yeah.
You're gonna give your name and your favorite class.
And
you're gonna...
something interesting about yourself. That one was always so hard for me, because I'm like, what do I say?
I know. Like, I'm like, what the fuck is interesting about me?
Well, like, not only both of us were pretty sheltered.
Yeah.
So, like, not only that, it's like, what am I allowed to say? Because my, you know, it wouldn't ever get back to my parents, I'm sure.
Right.
But, like, I was always terrified.
There was always a fear. Especially in high school, because my high school was right next to my mom's work. So it was like, what if the person that she knows heard? Or what if one of the kids told the staff member that knows my mom, and they went over to my mom and told her what I said?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if I was like, I really like to... It could be something harmless, like I like to use markers to decorate the side of my shoe or something. And my mom's like, who said you could be writing on your shoes?
Right.
And, like, it would get me in serious trouble. You'd have that panic of, what are you allowed to say?
Yeah.
And it's so annoying to have teachers do that. I wish they would stop.
Yeah. Because
I know they want you to be social with other people, but people in general already have this sense to go ahead and find who they're comfortable with.
Yeah.
You already sit next to who you feel comfortable with. When you walk into a room and you see students sitting at their desk already, you scan the area and you're like, okay, I'll sit there.
Yeah.
Because you know you're going to be fine there. You've looked at each person around you and you've gauged what it's going to be like sitting there. And if it doesn't go well that first time, usually in college, there's no assigned seating, you'll move. I mean, you'll have to deal with somebody probably like me who's like, excuse you, that is my seat.
Yeah.
Because I'm a stickler for routine.
She was too.
Yeah.
One of our friends.
But yeah, having that moment even to be like, hey, so we're gonna start with you, and they're the first person called. And having to stand up on the first day and look at everybody and be like, hi, I'm Viv, and you know, my voice starts cracking, or like I start to, I don't know, I vomit, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like something besides doing the naked thing, because that is not funny. Just like fart jokes and stuff aren't funny. They keep doing it because sometimes writers will be creative and everything, but they'll also lean on the weaker point of jokes because kids are stupid.
And also, like, it's worked in the past, so
why not just reuse it? And it's like, okay, we can only use it so many times, and then we get tired of this, guys. Like, I get that kids will laugh, but also at the same time, you're kind of downgrading your piece now, because it was an A, but now for other people of your audience that has watched this, it's like, okay, well, it's not a B.
Yeah. Another one. This one's more specific. So, Inside Out.
Oh, okay.
You remember the dream sequence that Riley had?
Yes. Yeah. With her teeth. That one.
Yeah. There was one segment where it's a bear asking her if she wants pizza.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, what did this have to do with, like, anything? Because, I mean, the pizza part made sense, because that happened to her in the day. But why bears? Why a bear coming up to her? And I think I remember thinking the unicorn that Joy says hi to.
Yeah.
I would have rather have seen a segment about the unicorn, because that looked more interesting. Like, even if it was something where the unicorn was sad because now she's getting into this depressive state.
Yeah.
Or, like, something really bad happens to the unicorn, or, you know, whatever. Like, that would have made... I don't know. I just think it would have been more interesting to see. Because, in my opinion, it didn't really give us any insight into Riley as a person.
That was frustrating, because we only had her emotions listed, and a lot of it was Joy, and Joy's worry about keeping Riley happy. I honestly, it's really telling that I don't remember anything about this bear, and like anything throughout the movie about seeing a bear.
Yeah.
It shows how unimportant it was. So like, even if it was her old, what's his name? The elephant dude. Her old imaginary friend.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember. I'm so sorry. I know a lot of people liked him, but
yeah, I know.
I found him kind of annoying, honestly.
It was very little kid.
Yeah.
Which made sense. I cried because that was a sad sequence, but I was also pissed off because I really didn't like Joy.
Yeah, Joy was horrible.
She was so selfish as a character.
It made sense for the story they were telling, but yeah, Joy was just awful.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad because we almost don't get to see Riley's personality. Like, they tell us what she's into, and we see some scenes of it, but...
You don't get to know her, especially since it's all about her. It was a very odd thing. It was interesting story, and I liked where they were going. But it took away from the fact that this was about a girl dealing with depression and not getting to deal with it because something was getting in the way. Yeah. That being Joy. She wasn't allowing Riley to feel sadness. And so I agree there should have been something a little more significant, and we should have had something more outstanding. Maybe something that tied to her dad, because the fact that he was busy with work
all the time,
and things sucked because they were, they moved to a new place and she didn't have friends. Maybe even having a short sequence saying goodbye to her friends and like having a significant item being given to her or something of that nature.
Or like, I mean, I'm just thinking on the spot, but like, what if the unicorn had the hair of her old friend?
Yeah.
Or, something.
Yeah, especially since we got to see her friend on the laptop and stuff, and they were video chatting and stuff. Yeah. And her talking about having a new girl on the team and stuff. Yeah. What if when she got the pizza... it was her friend and the new girl giving her a pizza, and then there was like a laughing sequence of seeing them be buddy and laughing at Riley. Because that was her fear, that she was left out and that she wasn't with these people anymore. And how dare they replace her all of a sudden. Yeah. And I mean, it's a very little kid thing to worry about. I mean, even as an adult, you kind of worry about that too among your friends, because I've had times where, my closest friend is getting close with other people that they work with. And my very childish fear is, oh, she's gonna hang out with that person more often because they're cooler than me and they're probably funnier and they get to, they have the same schedule so they can see each other more often. That's a totally normal fear for people to have. You get that. It's how you handle it is what differs you from being a child and an adult.
Yeah.
But, like, if we had a significant thing like her friend or something being shown, it would have been way more impactful, I think. Because, like, the bear, I remember nothing about that happening. And that's like...
It felt like they had the asset from a Brave.
Oh, okay.
They were like, hey, let's use this again.
Okay. Yeah. Recycling models and stuff, yeah. Okay.
So, I don't know. I'm not sure what their reasoning is. Maybe they had a reason, but, like you said, it wasn't impactful. And, like, to me, it was only impactful because I was like, why?
Yeah. So, I don't know if this bothers you about TV shows and stuff when characters have nightmares or something where they immediately shoot straight up and like gasp and look around. I hate that. I don't wake up that way from a nightmare.
I've never done that before.
I never sit straight up. And even people I know, there is no sitting straight up. I would rather see a character like do that thing where you shake yourself awake because you feel like you're falling. Yeah. That one is a very common thing among people. I don't know why people don't do that more in dreams. If you want to wake up from a dream while scared, either falling off of something, which I don't imagine is hard to act or animate, and or just like doing a quick jolt, because I've had moments where I'm in bed and I feel like I'm falling off of something and my body twitches and I wake up because I felt like I was going to fall, but I'm perfectly fine in the middle of my bed. Yeah,
I've done that before. And I think the biggest reaction I ever had from a nightmare, I was in like an empty mall and I needed to go to the bathroom for whatever reason. And I went to this really dilapidated, really gross bathroom. And it had, like, a banner that was, like, falling down. And, like, it was very run down. Nobody had been in it in a while. And, it wasn't clean. For some reason, that part of the mall was empty, too. It was I don't know if it was, like, a blocked off area or something. But whatever. I was there. And it was this weird bathroom. I can't just... I don't know. It's weird. But then... all of these bugs were coming out of the wall, and they were surrounding me, and I tried to go back, but the door had closed, and it was dark, and I could hear them and start to feel them, and I just remember the only reason I woke up is because I stopped breathing. And so I started, like, choking. Oh, God, okay. And, when I woke up, I was like, jeez. Yeah, no. So, like, something like that would be more...
Yeah, the gasping awake and stuff, because I've never had to shoot straight up. Usually when I wake up from a dream, I'll gasp, because usually you're scared awake. You scare yourself. But, like, usually I tend to curl in on myself. Yeah. Because I start to hug myself, like, what the fuck just happened? And I start to close in, and then I have to slowly sit up. And I have to sit on the side of my bed and kind of focus and kind of gain what's going on. Yeah. I know that it's a good shot sequence for when you're filming something and you want to get that immediate frame where it's just you see the headboard and whatnot and then your character sits up into frame. Yeah. And that's good for comedic purposes, I guess. But, like... It doesn't make sense when it happens for something that's serious, because you watch, like, a serious dream of someone getting hurt in some way, abused, or, like, going through something terrifying, and then they wake up. I don't want to feel like laughing at them for that, because obviously they're going through something.
It's like the same thing with the naked dream. Yeah. It's like, I don't want to laugh at the character.
Yeah. You're supposed to feel something for them. Yeah. Like, you're not supposed to be the bully. You're supposed to want to help them. And so, like, I would prefer it if, like, they curled in on themselves, or, like, they slowly sat up and needed to get some water or needed to walk around.
Or they, like, hugged their pillow and cried into it or something. Like,
especially for impactful scenes and stuff, because even in other shows that are more serious and dark, usually I've seen them sit straight up and then they, like, take a moment to breathe and they run their hand through their hair. Yeah. And then we move on to the next scene. Yeah. And that's it. There's no dealing with that dream. There's no anything else. But
there's no, like, sitting there and letting it sink in.
Yeah. And I think there's probably very few things, maybe ones we haven't seen yet, but, like, I only know maybe one or two times that I've seen somebody actually sit there and then maybe get their parent for help or get a friend or like call somebody is usually what I've seen. That is a bit better to me, but I don't like the sitting straight up thing in the scene because it's usually used in like Disney Channel. You know, is a good, because they do that a lot where you sit up. Yeah. you sit up real quick and their hair is all perfect and they still got some makeup on.
They're actors, but are they though?
Right. And like, they're like, and then they move on with their day.
Yeah.
And then they lay back down and curl up to sleep. And then we move on to the next day. And it's always the same thing where it's obvious that you weren't asleep. And I know you can't actually go to sleep to shoot the shot. But some effort would be nice.
Yeah.
Because nobody looks bright-eyed awake when they just woke up. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's fine. At least get them to 0.0, which if you're not in the theater industry or in the makeup industry, 0.0, or they might call it something else, is when you have the base amount of makeup.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, the, what do you call it? Foundation. And that's it. That's all you have on.
Yeah.
So if they were at base 0, like, obviously most people have acne underneath or, like, other things, and they're actors, they don't want to show that. But you could at least be at base 0. You don't need to have mascara and the eyeliner and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's very unrealistic. I mean, there's some people who go to sleep with makeup on. I've done it before a few times on accident.
Yeah, but when I wake up, I look worse.
I look like a raccoon.
Yeah, you look worse because all that
and
stuff
I've spooked
smears.
myself in the mirror before.
You're not supposed to go to sleep with makeup on, by the way. It's not good for your skin.
It's not.
But sometimes I've gone to the point where I'm so tired I just flop into bed and I don't care. Which is not good because, you know, my eyeliner smears all over my pillows. And you look worse. You don't wake up looking refreshed. Why do you think in movie scenes when there's like rom-coms and stuff, when the lady is slept over at the guy's house and she sneaks away stealthily to go put makeup on and freshen herself up and then sneaks back into bed and just lays there like, oh yes, I just woke up so beautiful. Which is funny, and it's like, oh, she's going through all that, obviously, because we don't look fresh and clean in the morning like that, and she wants him to be amazed by how beautiful she looks in the morning and whatnot. Even though
it's a lie.
We're all trolls. And so like that stuff is funny, but when you have it for a lot of Disney shows that I have watched over the years, as you become more and more into your looks and makeup appearance and stuff, it just takes away from the feeling you're supposed to have. Especially when some of them tried to do a real thing where they were really traumatized by this nightmare. I don't feel that because I am now focused on the fact that you woke up looking fresh and clean, no dark circles.
Now I just want to make fun of you.
Yeah,
or
because like
really,
really,
come on,
like you did not go to sleep, and it's frustrating because it pulls you out of it, and then you know when they go and sit and have the talk with the parent or with their friend or something about their fear, coupled with the mediocre acting, you lose the effect of caring about this topic. So it's lost. You don't remember, you know, why they were scared in the first place. You don't care too much about what is actually bothering them, and you don't relate to it because you don't wake up like that. You don't have those reactions. You are, you know, soaked with sweat. You're panicked and your heart's racing and your muscles hurt, or you feel heavy, or you feel like you need to have some sugar in your system or something.
I've noticed that description happening in books a lot too. He sat bolt upright in bed. Yeah. Sweat dripping from his forehead. Like
nobody sits bolt upright like that. No.
No.
Especially in a bed. Like you have to have a very firm bed for you to comfortably sit upright like that.
Yeah.
Because even if you are a person who is in shape and can do crunches and stuff like that, you're still gonna be having a bit of an issue with the bounciness of your bed. Yeah. And I mean, it's not an easy thing to go ahead and just go from a laying position to immediately sitting straight up. I think someone might get hurt doing that. Yeah. But like, It just, to me, it doesn't make sense why that is the go-to. Because it doesn't feel realistic.
Yeah.
Especially when you talk to so many people so often, and we've discussed a lot of stuff like this all the time with friends. It just, from a general standpoint, you don't never get a common theme like that. You know, some things are relatable.
Yeah.
Like fear of bugs in dreams. Several of us have had that, or we can relate to similar nightmares, and then we compare notes. That sort of thing. But like cliches that are in stories and shows that are like, oh yes, you, a real person, can relate to this. No, not so much. There's a lot of things where you're like, I, a real person, am supposed to relate to that. No. I'm sorry. And then and then there's the, expectation as you're growing up as a kid watching this stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, am I a weirdo for not meeting these standards?
Yeah.
Like, it just adds more and more to the list of what qualifications you do and don't meet.
Yeah.
And now, what, my dreams are making me the weirdo now?
You're right. Like, dang.
Art-wise, has, just a final topic.
Yeah.
Art-wise, have any of your dreams, like, been super influential to your artwork?
I want to say yes, I really do, but I think so far it hasn't really. I might dream about things that I want to draw, but it's frustrating because I feel like whenever I have that inspirational moment, it's always better looking in my dream.
Yeah.
So whenever I try to draw something like a gorgeous dragon or whatever that I saw, it never comes out the way I wanted to. Even the piece of art that I did for this episode did not look the way I pictured it.
Right.
When I initially had the idea. So, but I will say, if I ever become a writer, and that is one of the things that I do want to do, I will say that my dreams, I believe, could make it into some of the stories. A common theme in a lot of my dreams is that I'm alone, and that's terrifying for me.
Yeah.
So I hate the idea of being abandoned. So I think I would probably try and incorporate that a little bit, and some of the weirdness of my dreams too, because those can be fun. Those can be fun little animated sequences. A lot of people really over the top weird, nothing makes sense animations.
Yeah. So
that could potentially work out for a dream, or for an animated piece. But so far not really. Unfortunately. What about you?
A few ways that's impacted my artwork and things that I do, because I like to write, I like to draw, and obviously what we studied, anime. I know with writing, a lot of characters I've come up with or scenarios I put them in have come from my dreams. Things that I've lived through, and so some of the time the really hard ones that I couldn't finish, and I have a chunk of what bothered me, I try to flesh out in a writing piece, and then I throw a character in there that I've designed that can actually fight it.
Okay.
And it's my way of dealing with the worst versions that I have for nightmares, and I haven't had a lot of those lately. I think they show up most of the time during January, because the anniversary of my grandma's passing.
Yeah.
So I'm not in a good headspace then, and so a lot of the time, a lot of darker, kind of heavier themes for my nightmares happen, and then I'll put my characters in those scenarios just so I can combat them.
Yeah.
I think drawing wise, I've never had a rush to go ahead and draw this thing right now. I just dreamt it or anything. But I think I've had similar experiences like what I've witnessed you having, where you couldn't go to sleep, or you woke up from a dream and now you can't go back to sleep, so you have all this energy and now you gotta sit down and draw. but that's about it. Like, whatever I drew was not based on what I was dreaming.
Yeah.
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 Same with animation. I mean, I think in a weird way, a lot of my stuff, the scarier stuff, has influenced parts in my D&D campaign.
Okay.
Just things that I might throw at my party members and stuff, just to put them through to see what they do. But it's the same thing as like when I'm writing with my characters.
Yeah.
I'm kind of just searching for a way for other heroes to go ahead and actually defeat the battle.
Yeah, I think when I come up with ideas for what I want to write, it's usually during the day.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes it's very inconveniently.
We didn't talk about daydreams.
No, we didn't.
That would take a while.
Daydreams, yeah. I mean, they play an important part as an artist, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of imagination running wild. And so I've had daydreams, and then I come out of it, and I'm like, ooh, I need to write that down. But I'm in an inconvenient place. Like, I'm at work.
Oh, yeah.
Or
it always happens when you don't have the ability to go ahead and write something down.
Or like I was in a class, or like, I shouldn't have been daydreaming, but whatever, it happens. Or I'm
suddenly wake up out of it and you're like, oh man, I missed the last 30 minutes. How do I rig this piece?
Yeah. Or like I'm awake, but I'm tired, and it's like not the middle of the night, but like damn near it, and it's like, do I fully commit to coming out of this? I call it a daydream. It's more of like I know I should be sleeping, and I have like these visions behind my eyes, but I know I'm not asleep.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you'd call those, but I have those a lot, and it's really frustrating because I can hear everything. I'm very noise and light sensitive.
Yeah.
So I hear and like see everything behind my eyes and my ears, and it's really annoying. So when I have those, I really want to write them down, or I want to draw them, but I'm like, do I commit to waking up and being fully awake, or do I try to go back to sleep?
Right.
And then usually when I fully wake up, it's gone.
Yeah.
No.
A lot of your sleeping situations remind me of what's his name? Jason from Gilmore Girls.
Okay. The
guy that Lorelai dates that works with her dad. The fact that he has a completely separate room to sleep in because he can't have someone sleep next to him. Mm-hmm. I feel like you need that scenario. Whole room to yourself, soundproof walls and shit. No distractions, and just be in there.
Have you heard of the soundproof room?
No.
Okay, there's a room. Oh God, where is it? It's like Scandinavia or somewhere. I'm probably wrong, but it's not in the United States, and it's completely soundproof. They made it so that if you go in there and you like just don't talk at all, you can hear your organs and like your blood rushing through your systems. Like, that's how soundproof it is. And everybody was talking about how terrible it would be, and like this one guy went in and he couldn't even stay in there for like a few minutes because like it drove him crazy or something. And all I could think of was, that sounds perfect.
We need to find it to go take you and see if you can go to sleep.
Right?
Like, how fast does it?
Oh my
are you
God.
able to go to sleep?
I'm
gonna be right outside. I'm gonna be blasting stuff on speakers and shit,
God.
and I'm gonna be like playing meme music and whatnot, and Vines and whatever. Yeah, I know Vines are dead, but like they're on YouTube.
Right.
And I'm just gonna see if it can wake you up. Even me standing outside the door with like a megaphone, and like, Cassie! And we'll see. We'll see if you either get freaked out by the sound of your organs, or if you just
I feel like it'd be
asleep.
so fascinating.
It sounds fascinating, but I also got the immediate cringe of like fear of hearing something like that, because I've never heard. You don't hear what it sounds like except for when your stomach wants to make whale noises in the middle of a SAT test and you don't have food. And you're like, shut up.
Like, I get it. My mom and dad have been gone for a week, but
I know,
like, calm
shut
down.
up. We haven't ate in a while.
I used to punch my stomach.
Oh my God, no. No.
It was really bad.
Oh, goodness.
I used to do.
I feel like somebody's going to listen to this and we're going to have all the concerns thrown at us. Which we get. We know we've got issues. But, oh God, it's an hour and a half. We've talked
We
for
did that last time.
Which is
like
fine.
an hour and a half.
We can talk for forever.
Yeah, it's fine.
But,
anyway, so we'll just wrap this up on a high note.
Yeah.
So have you guys experienced nightmares similar to the characters, like the stereotype of being naked in front of your classmates? How did you feel about it? how do you feel about the stereotypes, and if you have any weird dreams that you can write down real quick, and like maybe we'll get to them and we can read them.
Be funny to read.
Yeah, we like dreams. I know some people say listening to other people describe their dreams is boring, but I don't see it that way.
Nah.
I don't know why people say that.
It's always a weird trip.
Yeah,
even the boring stuff, it's like there's usually something odd.
Like,
that
I
ends
went
up
to the
occurring.
grocery store and fucking Aquaman was just standing
Yeah.
there.
I don't know what he was getting, but I grabbed the milk that I needed finally, and then I woke up and I got mad because there was no actual like milk that I needed to grab the other night in my fridge. Like, if there's anything whoever happens to listen to this, if you have an idea of what we could ramble about, that's kind of what we use these recording sessions for. And if you got any critiques, feel free to leave them. Otherwise, like, subscribe, do all that jazz that all of us need you desperately to do to give us attention. And thank you very much. I'm Viv.
I'm Cassie.
Have a lovely evening, day, whatever.
We love you.
Bye.
Bye.